Hello, amazing entrepreneur. It's Tash Corbin here, and welcome to another episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. This is episode number 321, which means you can find all the relevant links and show notes for today's episode over at tashcorbin.com/321. And I love that this is episode number 321 because it sounds like we are counting down to an epic launch, which we are. In this episode, I'm going to help you skyrocket your reach in your next launch. So let's dive in, shall we? 3, 2, 1, let's do it. I'm Tash Corbin, and this is the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. The truth of the matter is that when you're launching something, you want to get it in front of as many people as possible. So in this episode, I want to walk you through some steps on how we can maximize your reach during a launch. Now, I do want to just quickly reassure you that actually the act of launching in and of itself can often naturally increase your reach, especially on social media anyway. Why? Because you're showing up more consistently, you're more active on your social media channels, people are engaged with your content and the things that you're promoting and talking about, because most reaches include a lot of free content, free lead magnets and opportunities for people to learn from you and move forward for free. So what naturally happens is as your launch progresses, you end up getting greater and greater reach on social media. However, we can be really strategic about the way that we maximize your launch reach. So I wanted to dive into that in a bit more detail today. The first way to skyrocket your reach is to make sure that you are on niche and on message. It can be very easy when you're in the midst of a launch to get distracted by questions that are in related topics, but sort of a little bit off track. Or you get distracted by shiny objects or people asking questions that aren't related to the thing that you're launching. So where possible, stay on niche and on message. Something that can happen for us when we're launching something is you'll have a bunch of people come out of the woodwork because you've got that initial extra reach from your launch process. People will come out of the woodwork who you weren't expecting to hear from at that point in time and ask about things that don't fit what you're launching. So for example, whenever I'm launching the takeoff program, because in that launch I'm getting so much more reach, I'll get a bunch of people asking me about courses, memberships, and launching. That's not what I cover inside the takeoff program. But the reason why people are reaching out is because they're seeing great content from me and they think, oh, I wonder if you could help with this as well. So it's important for me during that launch not to take that as a sign that everyone needs to hear about this other topic right now, and instead engage with those individuals on an individual basis, but keep my launch going on niche and on message. When I'm in launch of the takeoff program, I'm focused on people in the early stages of startup in their online phase of business. And all of these advanced marketers, people who've been in business for ages, will come out of the woodwork because they're seeing more of me. Similarly, when I'm launching the Leverage and Launch program, which is about courses and memberships and launching, I'll have a bunch of people come out of the woodwork and say, what if I'm not ready for leverage, but I want to sell one-to-one services? Well, of course, I'm going to let them know about the takeoff program privately, but that doesn't mean my entire audience is preferring to hear from me about startup and getting those business foundations in place or working with people one-to-one. It's just that you'll get more communication from people overall. So it's important to not see that as a sign that you need to pivot or get distracted when it's just one or two people who are basically saying, wow, that sounds really amazing, but what I need is X. Does that make sense? So we want to make sure that we're staying on niche and staying on message. The exception to this rule is that when you are going through a launch like that, If people are talking about the exact same outcome, right? The outcome that they want is the thing that your course or your freebie or your membership is going to deliver to them, but they're saying, well, yeah, I want that outcome, but the way I think I need to get there is this, then that can be a sign to you that you're not meeting your audience where they are. And that brings me to tip number 2, meet your audience where they're at. So you need to be clear on niche, who is this for? Key message, why should people be investing in this? But if people are coming to you and saying, oh, but don't I need X, or oh, I think I need Y, then to me, that says you're not meeting your audience where they're at. An example of this would be if I'm launching the Takeoff program and I'm talking about foundations and sales strategies and getting more conversions, and people are coming to me and saying, yeah, I get all of that. But first, how do I get followers on Facebook? Right? They see followers on Facebook as the pathway to getting those sales coming through and getting their business off the ground, getting those one-to-one sales. So that's not a case of it being off niche. That's a case of my audience thinking they need something else first before they can focus on the thing that I'm teaching. So what we need to do is make sure that your content that goes around your launch helps people to have that light bulb moment so they understand exactly where they need to be focusing their energy and attention to achieve the outcome. So people who come to me and say, how do I get more followers on Facebook, have the same goal as people who come to me and say, how do I make more sales? They actually have the same goal. The goal is more paying clients, right? They want to make more sales. But for some people, they think that the thing that they need to make more sales is better reach on social media. For some people, the thing that they think they need in order to achieve that is they need to get better at sales. Both of them are actually correct. You do need to reach people on social media and you do need to be good at sales, right? You need to have some skills and processes and systems for making those sales. But there's a big difference between me saying, don't worry about Facebook followers, just make sales versus, oh, okay, here's how you make here's how you get Facebook followers and here's how to turn that into sales. So what we're doing is instead of being ships passing in the night with your messaging, we are meeting your audience where they're at. So if your audience have a misunderstanding about what they need to achieve their goal, your job is not to just run around and tell them that they're wrong. Your job is to meet them where they're at and facilitate that light bulb so they can see that ultimately they still need X if they want to make those sales or if they want to get that result. So I'll give you another example here. Let's say your ideal client, let's say you're in the health and well-being space, and your ideal client wants to have a really strong exercise routine to build lean muscle and trim down, right? That's their focus. They think exercise is the key to building lean muscle and trimming down. And you might know that it's not just about exercise and that ultimately trimming down or weight loss is not the focal point required in order to achieve that goal of building lean muscle and trimming down. The focal point needs to be really embracing your body where it's at and working to your body's strengths. You might think that the focal point needs to be more on nutrition or a good balance of nutrition and exercise, right? But if you just run around the internet yelling at people, stop saying you want to lose weight, people will secretly keep looking for ways to lose weight, right? If you keep running around the internet saying, stop looking for ways to trim down, you're basically just saying lose weight. What you need to do is love yourself. People will say, oh yeah, love myself. That'd be nice one day. How do I lose weight? How do I trim down, right? So rather than just constantly butting heads with your audience, you want to meet them where they're at. So in your launch, you might have some content that actually addresses the exact thing that your audience are looking for. So you might have something that says the 5 best exercise routines to build lean muscle and trim down. But the light bulb in that content, the light bulb that you facilitate during that launch is helping people to see the bigger picture. So they go and get the exercise routines for building lean muscle and trimming down. And in it, you say, unfortunately, if we only focus on exercise, the chances of you achieving your health goals are going to be very slim. So what we need to do is combine some mindset work, this amazing exercise routine, and a strong focus on nutrition if you want to achieve your long-term health goals. So if you'd like to achieve those long-term health goals and bring all of it together, that's how we do that in my program. So you can see how I've just built a little bridge there. So instead of telling your audience they're wrong all the time, meet them where they're at and bring them on the journey. But that just doesn't get done once. All of your content ecosystem, all of your messaging ecosystem needs to help move people forward in their journey. So when it comes to maximizing your launch reach, we want to ensure that you're getting lots of engagement. And to get that engagement, because engagement creates reach, we want to make sure we're dishing up content people actually want. That's why we need to meet them where they're at. So number one, clear niche, on message. Number two, meet them where they're at with lots and lots of different pieces of content. Then, as I mentioned, number three, on social media, engagement is key. So your job when you're in launch, when you're thinking about launch content, when you're thinking about the media that you're going to use in your content, when you're thinking about what you're doing on social media, I want you to think of it through this lens. What would encourage as many people in my niche as possible to engage with this content? Now, a surprising answer to this might be not telling them what to do on every single post. Now, I talked about this in a recent workshop that I ran called Reach Rocket. And in that, I talked about how, sometimes when you are scrolling on social media, remember, social media is social, scrolling on social media and someone shares an amazing tip and you're like, oh, that's such a good tip. But at the end of the tip, they say, let me know in the comments below, what are 3 things you're going to change as a result of reading these tips? Then I can't just comment and say, that was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Because I know they're then going to come and say, but you didn't answer my question, right? I'm not answering it correctly. Or I don't want to answer it at all because the thing that I was going to comment doesn't match what you want me to comment. So I was like, oh, well, I won't comment. And I'm seeing this more and more on social media. When you're so directive every single time on social media, every post has a very specific call to action. You're giving people strict and explicit instructions. You can sometimes actually damage your engagement. Think about it. When your friends post that they just went and saw an amazing movie, they don't say in that post, oh, I just went and saw this amazing movie. Everybody should go and see it. Comment below when you have seen it and tell me what was your favorite plot twist, right? They don't post like that. That's not how humans engage socially. And social media is social. So your job is to look at what encourages people to engage the most. 1, valuable content. 2, seeing things behind the scene that get people excited to comment. 3, asking for people's opinions, asking people questions. 4, creating content that is really relatable for them and they just want to say, oh my gosh, that's me too. Yeah. So in none of those is it content where you've given explicit instructions on exactly how people are to comment in the comments. Furthermore to this, if you really want to skyrocket your reach during your launch, remember that the Facebook and Instagram algorithms are looking for words like tell me in the comments, link in comments, comment, comment, comment. Those types of posts instantly tell the algorithm, this is a business. This is someone trying to get in front of more and more people in their audience. So this type of content is not going to be organic and engaging. And so let's show it to less people. That's the tough truth of the matter. So think about how to get people to engage, but not through the lens of how to tell people to engage, but what makes you want to engage on content? What is going to feel compelling for them to engage? Yeah. So have a think about it. Easy to absorb content, content that's really helpful, content that asks their opinion on something, ask questions, but ask easy questions that we can answer really quickly, because remember, we've got small attention spans. And if it's a hyper complex 3-part question, then lazy brain goes, you know what? No, I'm not here for this. I'm here for the instant validation, right? I'm here for instant gratification. I'm here for, a little bit of an endorphin rush. This homework is not giving me that. So really, I want you to have a look at your launch content and give it an extra little sweep to make sure it's highly engaging without resorting to telling people explicitly exactly what to do. Okay? So that's number 3, engagement is key. Number 4 is leverage your existing warm audience, especially your mailing list. Think about your social media channels and your mailing list as 2 parts of a beautiful cycle that feed each other. They snowball each other. If you encourage your mailing list to come and engage with specific content on social media, then that engaged social media grows your reach and recruits more people to your mailing list. So you've got more people to encourage to come and engage on your social media. So maybe for the few weeks leading up to your launch, you will tell people about great Facebook Lives you've done, or share your most hilarious reel that you did on Instagram last week. So what you're doing is you're directing your mailing list over to your social media. They engage over on your socials. That grows the reach on the socials, right? So you get more reach on socials. So there are more people then coming over and joining your mailing list, because on your socials, you're recruiting people to your mailing list as well. And so they actually create this amazing virtuous cycle that supports each other. So leverage your warmest audiences. Focus on nurturing and engaging with your warmest audiences, because they are the key to organic reach, in particular on social media. And I always recommend we start by creating an amazing platform of strong organic reach that also is proven to create sales and results before we scale it up with paid advertising. And that is the 5th tip, is pay for it. Eventually we want to move away from putting a bunch of time into social media to get money out, and instead replace time with money. Money in, money out. Because you didn't start this business to be on social media 65 hours a week. So if we want to have a plan of how you are going to scale up your launches to get to the point where you can confidently invest in reach, in getting in front of new audiences, knowing that that reach will convert into paying clients in your launch. So we want to make sure, 1, you can see how you can progress to paying for your reach eventually, and 2, that you are progressing towards less time in getting reach in your launches and more money being invested in getting reach in your launches. Now, little bonus tip for you here. Do not wait until launch. Do not wait until launch. The most likely people to buy from you when you start your launch are the people who are already on your list. Yes, launches are an amazing time to recruit new people to your list, but new list members are 3 times less likely to buy from me when I launch my online courses and programs. So, and I see that reflected in my clients and my biz buddies as well. If someone's on my list, they are far more likely to buy from me when I go into launch. If they join my list during that launch, they have a shorter window to get to know me. They have a shorter window to make a decision. They have a shorter window to overcome any objections. They have a shorter window to get the money together to invest in the program. And so they're far less likely to buy. But I know that people who join my mailing list in one launch, even though they're less likely to buy then, they're the ones who are more likely to buy next launch. So see list growth and audience growth and reach as a snowball rather than a flash and crash. The more that you see every launch is building upon the momentum for the next one, the more that you will be able to create that snowball, reach more people every time, and create again that virtuous cycle of list growth, creating social reach, and social reach creating list growth. So don't wait until launch to grow your audience or focus on reach. The best time to start is now, because the more that you grow that reach, the more that you focus on these things as you lead up to the launch, the more you've got a warmed up audience when the launch actually starts. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, I really do need to get that growing my audience happening, I have a great free resource for you. It's called Grow Your Audience. And I will make sure I have a link to that with the show notes of today's episode over at tashcorbin.com/321. tashcorbin.com/321. I got very excited about the 321 then, because I was thinking it's going to be the easiest podcast episode number for you to remember. If you think about getting your audience and reach ready for your launch, just remember 3, 2, 1, launch. Yay. All right. Now, remember, you want to start focusing on growing your audience now. You want to be on niche and on message, meet people where they're at. On socials, your engagement is key. Leverage that warm audience and eventually start paying for your reach. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Heart Centered Business Podcast. Until next time, I cannot wait to see you shine. Bye for now. Would you like more tips, tools, and resources to help you grow your heart-centered business? Head to tashcorbin.com today.